Thank you. I believe Wandile has been pulled into the G20 summit, so it will just be the two of us, and then Anelise will provide her inputs via video.
All right. So South Africa's agriculture sector has shown robust export growth, reaching over 13.7 billion US dollars in 2024, maintaining an upward trajectory in 2025. With us is Paul Makube. He's the senior agricultural economist at FNB with extensive knowledge on agricultural finance and economics, and he will have to answer most of the questions. And then joining us via video, as I mentioned, is Anelise Matutu, who is the head of commodities at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, with more than 15 years of experience in commodities market development, innovation, and trading. So, Paul, if you are ready for your first question, from FNB's perspective, what are the current trends and challenges shaping South Africa's agricultural economy, specifically regarding financing and growth?
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me. Yeah, so on the agricultural sector, particularly perhaps to start with, is the question of the growth trajectory for the South African agricultural landscape. We have seen a phenomenal growth over the years, exponential growth, led by almost the export commodities that have seen massive growth over the years. Huge investment in the sector, which means that there is confidence from the financial sector in terms of provision of the necessary financing for the sector to flourish. Obviously, that growth meant that they have to find markets, and new developments are that there are challenges on the global market regarding the changing trade environment as a result of the tariffs. But not only as a result of the tariffs. Prior to the tariffs, we have the situation where we're still contesting the issue of non-tariff barriers, on citrus, which is one of our flagship exports. As you may be aware, that we are still at the WTO in terms of a dispute over the CBS issue on citrus. So those are some of the challenges that the sector faces. But obviously, over the years, domestically on the economic front, climate, agriculture, is dependent on the vagaries of climate. So climate change is quite one of the big issues for agriculture. You'd recall that we had the KZN situation with floods that devastated the sector. Not only from a production perspective, but also the infrastructure, perspective. So those are some of the challenges. Let me pause there.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next question is for Anelise, who sent us her answer via video, and the question was, how does the JSE's commodities market support agricultural producers and exporters in South Africa, and what innovations are redefining the sector?
Hi, my name is Anelise Matutu. I head up the Commodity Derivatives Division at the JSE. To answer.
Moving on to our next question. Paul, which segments of the agricultural sector hold the strongest potential for export growth and value addition in the coming years?
Yeah, very good. The sectors that, or industries that are likely to be big job multipliers is your export commodities. Here we're talking about your citrus, your subtropical fruits, and especially that we're entering into a phase where there's accelerated efforts to actually access various markets or what we call diversification of markets that emanates from this current debacle about tariffs. As you are aware that the tariff situation does not only affect South Africa, it affects the rest of the world. And there is a realization across the world that there has to be a diversification. There is a need to actually expedite those trade initiatives to actually open the markets. Previously, it was very lackluster. It took years to have agreements, and we have recently seen those strides in terms of that. So, unlocking opportunities is in that sector in terms of ensuring that we have the growth in exports. And in fact, if we can see those markets opening up, I mean the Asian markets, the Indian market, the Middle East opening up, obviously still servicing the mature markets such as the EU, will actually see another trend that we have seen, especially in the fruit industry, where there was an exponential growth in investments, and it's going to be another spurt of growth. Obviously, not neglecting other sectors such as your livestock sector. I mean, the livestock sector is quite big in the agricultural commodity mix. Is the biggest actually. Dominated by poultry, and then you have the other meat commodities coming into play. So we are a big exporter of wool, which is almost like a niche product. And if you look at other commodities, I mean macadamia, we are the biggest producer in the world. So there is pockets of excellence in the South African space, in terms of investments in the value chain.
Thank you very much. We move on to our second question that was posed to Anelise, and that was, what role does commodity market development play in raising the profile of agricultural goods as premium exports from South Africa?
Commodities market really plays a fundamental role in raising the profile of the agricultural markets and goods. It really speaks to the maturity of the market. It's an
And then our last question for Paul before we open it to the audience. Can you discuss how the banking and finance sector is adapting to support agricultural exporters in leveraging continental and global trade opportunities?
Yeah, that's not an easy one. Obviously, adapting. Earlier on, Madam Matutu was explaining, the derivatives markets and the JSE. Its applicability to mainly, big agricultural commodities such as your grains and oilseeds, while other commodities, especially in the fresh produce, do not play in this space. Obviously, requiring a different approach in terms of, from a funding perspective, because one has to make sure that in the trade, the seller is able to get this money back. And also that the counterparty, there's due diligence that is done on the counterparty, and obviously that requires, in some instances, collaboration with other parties to ensure that you have that kind of due diligence done, which is always a problem, especially when you go deeper into some of the countries in Africa, as explained in terms of the regulations, but also that the size of the markets. So those are some of the challenges that we face, but we try as much as possible to develop products that can play in the space. It's a gradual process. It will take time. But there are instruments that we have already developed to actually facilitate the trade. Recently, we announced the Blue Bar, which is one of the flagship instrument that will assist our clients to get the money across into the rest of the continent. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. And then we had a last question for Anelise that was on opportunities for integrating South Africa's agricultural commodities into regional and global value chains. Do we have any questions for Paul? Do we have any questions for me that's not agriculture related? All right, no questions. Oh, there is a question.
Yeah, I'm not sure I had, you might be near, but I couldn't, hear some of the, aspects of your questions. But generally, when you're talking about support for farmers, is obviously in a farming operation, a farmer will either expand or a farmer is a startup. And in both cases, the requirements are different. And in the startup situation, one is looking at, there's always an issue of collateral. There's an issue of the jockey. Does a person have an experience of handling a particular operation? If that is indeed the case, to what extent can you lend the money? Now, in some instances, you do not necessarily have the necessary collateral. It's quite risky, and that's where the risk-sharing mechanisms are used to actually try to offset that. And we work with international financial institutions and also with DFIs to structure a deal that can accommodate such a situation, either for expansion or somebody who just started and would like to actually expand. But obviously, that depends on the level to which those operations are. It's quite a challenging space from a finance perspective. But there are instruments that we can use to try to alleviate that and actually allow the farmer to actually flourish. But that is not only on the financing side. We look at the whole value chain, ensuring that while you finance, the farmer has access to the markets, and how do you link that farmer to access the market? Because it doesn't help to pump money, but the guy doesn't have the necessary market to actually repay you. So we look at that that loop to ensure that it is tightly closed, and the farmer can continue to grow.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought maybe I was very loud enough. And my last one is to you, Nadine. Because you are also from the media space, so what is the role of media in supporting smallholder farmers? Just to make a comment, is that we need entrepreneurs. Without entrepreneurs, nobody gets paid, including the government. So what is the role of media in supporting smallholder farmers and creating awareness? Thank you.
So the role of the media in supporting small farmers is critical in terms of providing them with a platform to showcase their products or their services to the people out there in terms of Newskoop, we have about 80 community radio stations in South Africa, and we have an agricultural program. Desmond is a friend of the program that we make available to these stations, and it's broadcast in some of the remote areas, or most remote areas of the country. And it really is a platform to inform and empower through access to information. So that is our role as the fourth estate, to make sure that people are informed enough to make decisions that affect their lives and their livelihoods. All right, thank you very much. Do you want to play the video now? All right.
Just before I play the video, I just want to make sure that, because you managed time so well this time around, so we have no comments, no questions. Okay, thank you. While you are still there may be some questions arising. AV team, will you be so kind to play the video? Just before you leave the stage, yeah, to both of you, I wanted to say something. Desmond, can you please stand? Okay, if you see how he's dressed, you wouldn't tell he's a farmer, right? Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight a few things. So just a brief video that you saw is, this is Desmond. He's a farmer. He started 2 years ago with nothing, self-funding, sold one of his cars to start a small farm. He got a hectare of land in Mamasbury. He is now producing over 1,300 eggs a day. We are busy looking for more funding to expand. I think we want to go to up to about 48,000 eggs a day. But the story behind it, that you start from nothing to that extent, and I also just want to acknowledge in their presence people like Kevin Chaplin, who is the CEO of Ubuntu, who helped him to unlock the markets with hotels such as Century City Conference Center and hotels. He's now supplying at the Dorp Hotel, Astron Garages, and for the past 3 weeks we've been engaging ShopRite as well as in Pick and Pay. And I want to say also to you, Nadine, your work is commendable, to both of you, because it was that article that helped him to get such presence. So I wanted to say that your work is commendable, but we are at that time where we have to expand. We need more support, and let's never give up when we have entrepreneurs like Desmond. I know one of the challenges is capital, but there's also access to markets. But I wanted to say well done. Thank you, Desmond. Please give him a round of applause. So before our panelists leave, I don't know if you want to make a comment, your last comments about that success story.
An impressive and good success story. And I always tell, especially the people who are starting, it is important to own your business plan. And from that video you can see where there's some innovation there with the tires. So, and that's what you need, that a person understands his environment and what is available for him to apply anywhere. So to have that kind of ingenious mind to say this particular item, I can use it or reuse it for this particular purpose in my environment, and for me to be successful. Very interesting and open chickens. They are very healthy. They move around, not very much closed in cages, and lovely eggs that have been picked up from the farm. Nice operation, and wish him well in the future in terms of potential growth. and congratulations.
Thank you. Nadine, your last comments.
Desmond, from my side, it has been such an honor to have you on our show, Agri-Scoops, and it just shows you the power of community and what can be achieved when we share everyone's stories, and that is the power of storytelling. So you know that our door is always open for you to tell the people about your business, and that's the same for everyone in this room, because it might just reach that critical point or person or market that needs to hear about your business. So well done, and keep up the good work.